On Monday evening, the wife and I went to Sheffield in Yorkshire, right here in England, for a double headline concert. Essentially to watch two, it's fair to say, ageing rock bands. From Los Angeles in the USA, the legendary Motley Crue, and from Sheffield, England, so they were playing their home city, the mighty Def Leppard. The thing is, as a metalhead, I don't really like admitting that I like either of those two bands. They're not heavy. Def Leppard are essentially soft, in some cases very soft rock. And although Motley Crue are heavier, they're from that era where it was all makeup and hairspray. In fact, there's an interview with Metallica where it was either James Hetfield or Lars Ulrich said they were playing a concert and backstage they saw some hookers, but when they got closer they realised it was actually Motley Crue. That being said, most of the guys on stage were in their 60s. I think the youngest is John Five, the new guitarist with Motley Crue. He's still 52 years old. But there's something about that era of rock band from the 70s and 80s that make them almost fucking indestructible. So if we compare bands from that era to, say, popular in the noughties rock band Blink-182, well, Blink cancelled a tour because Travis from the band broke his finger. I'm fairly certain that Rick Allen, the drummer from Def Leppard, who's famous for being a drummer with one fucking arm, after his left arm was amputated when he crashed his Corvette, that's rock and roll, I'm sure that Rick would look at a broken finger as being somewhat fucking trivial. And Def Leppard, their past is quite dark. Aside from all the addiction problems that every rock band had in the 80s, one of their original guitarists, Steve Clark, was only 30 when he died of an overdose of drugs and alcohol. His replacement, Vivian Campbell, the man who puts the fast in Belfast, the wizard from Northern Ireland, he's living and touring with incurable cancer. He's on drugs for the rest of his life just to keep it at bay. And Def Leppard's other guitarist, Phil Collen, he's got an even bigger problem. He's a sodding vegan. However, that is nothing compared to the miracle that Motley Crue are still alive. I doubt the greatest scientific minds on the planet can fathom it. For example, back in 1987, Motley Crue's bassist, Nicky Sixx, took so much heroin that when the paramedics arrived, they pronounced him dead. Now obviously he was revived, but given that the guy is still gigging 36 years after he died, that's a fucking achievement. So why is any of this relevant? Well, we now live in a time where political correctness has been overtaken by the disease of wokeness. Everyone's offended by everything. Everything's sexist, racist, or transphobic. Everything has a badge or a flag. People will wave it in your face and tell you about their sexuality, whether you ask them or not. And it seems like half the population who are under the age of 30 don't know what fucking gender they are, but they do know that when they make their mind up, we all have to go along with it. So going to a football stadium where some older American guys came out on stage with a light show and explosions to sing songs which are mostly about drugs and prostitutes, that's a fucking breath of fresh air. And of course times have moved on, so we don't objectify women like we used to. However, Motley Crue's backing dancers, they came out wearing very little. They know they're hot, we know they're hot, and they know we know they're hot. So if those ladies want to earn a living by gyrating on stage, that's absolutely fine. And halfway through the set, Tommy Lee, the drummer from Motley Crue, came up to the microphone to essentially say if any ladies in the crowd want to get their tits out, then that's okay, and many obliged. And the atmosphere was electric, it was fun, and not because women were being objectified, it's because it's 2023, and here was 20,000 people actually having fun. And we need to do it now, because this time next year, it'll probably be fucking illegal. It's also the first tour since Mick Mars had retired from Motley Crue and been replaced with Rob Zombie's guitar player, John Five. suppose he's all right. So once Motley Crue were done, then out came Def Leppard. And there aren't many things that make me proud to be British, but Def Leppard are one of them because they are so British. They're far more popular in the USA than they are here. But on stage they've always got Union flags, which I'll call Union Jacks for the purpose of this video. And whereas many American musicians, as they get older, will have work done to make them look younger than they are, Def Leppard are Brits. Those guys are in their 60s and they fucking look it. There was one point in the concert, and this happens to a lot of, let's say, older bands. So Joe Elliott, the lead singer from Def Leppard, announces, "We've got a new album." And you could almost feel the entire crowd go, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Because as much as we love the new album, if we're honest, we don't want to hear anything after about 1994. But overall, it was a fantastic night's entertainment. And it gives me hope that rock and roll is alive and well, because even though the guys on the stage are getting on in years, we were in the stands and I was sat next to a 12-year-old lad who was there with his older brother. And this lad, it's the first concert he's ever been to. So a fucking baptism of fire. And afterwards, when everyone was getting ready to leave, I had a quick chat with him. And I said, from an old rocker to a new rocker, it's great you've been to this concert because now there's one less of them and one more of us. As ever, thanks for watching.